run through and see how far we can get with the registration page. So at the admin side, online registration, registration and payments. So the basic principle is that you set up a series of products here. You know, I've got in senior player full, senior player concession. These can be edited, and once also you can see the various selections that we've got for the juniors as well, and these are all active. So once you've got these as registration products, I think they're called, then you set up a registration form down here. So as an example for the senior player full, just go on to edit here, give that a second to fire up. So you can make changes here, obviously, call it what you like. I've just, you can get rid of that, we'll just call it senior subs full paying. I've got whatever the number is, you can obviously change that. That isn't that important. It's active, so we can see it. Any registration that occurs will go down as a senior player, so you can run your lists in MyCricket accordingly. And if someone's searching, it'll be under senior men's. I've chucked in a $30 discount. Obviously, you can get rid of that if you want to, and that just shows how long that discount goes for. So once you've made all the changes you need to, you go to update, and then back to online registration and payments. And I've got a concession one here as well. Don't actually know if the club has one of these, but whether it's for vets or whether it's for students, or I've got, you know, those maybe in between jobs. I've got in 150, and these all are pretty straightforward here as well. Once again, all go through as senior players. No discount on this one, but you know, do what you like. Update that, and then we're back to online registration and payments. So once we've got these products there, then we go back to a new registration form. I've set one up for where is it here? Oh, getting blind here. 1819 senior registration. So we go through to edit. So there's a registration page. This is a broad description about what the page will show. If you go to edit HTML, I'll just drag this back down to the screenshot here. You type in here that, you know, we can go testing 1, 2, 3, and what happens is it converts the text you've got here into computer speak over here. Once you go update, and it converts it in there, and you can just get a rough idea about what's going to appear on your registration sheet. I'll leave the inactive for a second. Got Paul's contact details there. I've popped in the bank's email details for those people that don't pay by credit card, and we'll do like a direct payment to the bank. Same setup if you want to change that at all. Probably wouldn't need to though. Go into the editor, and it's all set up there. Go to update, and you're all good. Don't think you need to worry about that sort of palaver. Now, these are what will be showing under the subscription piece. There was a bunch of other stuff here. These are all the junior ones. So we've got the senior player full, senior player concession, and the last thing you look at is making that active, and then going down here again to update. Okay. Now once you're here, you can go back down to preview, and you'll get a bit of a look on how it looks on the registration page. Now here's the junior stuff that's already in, and up and running. It's showing, you know, what the price is now and what the full price will be after August 15th. We go down here and you're showing what the senior player stuff looks like. Again, we've got the senior player product, we'll call it, which is going to be $250 normally, but if you're there ahead of the cut-off date, it's only going to cost you $220, and there's the senior player concession there as well, if that's going to be relevant. Now, what happens with the registration? So we'll just walk through this. If we click on senior player full, register. Now, these are the words that you saw earlier, the section one, training time, senior vets, testing 1, 2, 3. That was the section that we edited earlier on. This just outlines what the selection that you've made, some more words from the club, and continue. Now, the tricky part is that people will need their MyCricket ID and their password. Poor old Mitch gets to do this quite often. We'll just chuck in Mitch Horn's details here, and we'll log him in. Once it's occurred, then we can put in all the details here. Address is 110 Ruskin Road. Oops. There you go. And there are a variety of things. You can put in your own details in here if you want to. If there are some particular questions that you want to ask, I don't know, right-hander, left-hander, whatever, then we can adjust this so that those questions will be asked around about here or after these are all Cricket Australia questions, these ones here. On the junior one, we ask questions like, you know, what age group you want to play in, for what school you went to, and whether you played last year and other stuff like that. So just some other information we can capture. So once that's been done, go to continue, and it should summarise what the person is registering for. Senior player full, their details once again, Cricket Australia, whatever, click on that stuff and continue. Last page will be once again senior playing. Those are the words that we looked up, we typed in earlier. Now, the other part is part payment options. We can, or you can, do one of these things here if you want to. There is a section where we can remove this part payment thing if you want to, and we can just make it a single payment. If you've got a lot of people that like to pay in instalments, and if you can keep up with how that is progressing, then you can leave this option available. Visa or MasterCard are probably the preferred ways of doing it. For the pay now, the pay offline, what happens is the person will click submit and pay later, and that will generate an email to the club and an email to the person with the requirements to pay these details to the club. And once that's done, that generates that person as a senior player in the club, which you can then start running reports around. So that's an example of what the registration sheet looks like. I'll just get rid of that now, remind us that we were back on this page here. So I'm going to put that back to inactive in the meantime, and go to update. Okay. So now if we go back to the preview, we will see that it's no longer there, so you can't have any randoms coming in and registering while you're not looking. So that's kind of the first run through. Obviously adjust these or get rid of that concession one if it's not required. Obviously adjust the amounts here as well, or discounts if you want, and any other text changes you want to make. So hopefully that's useful, and we'll see if that works. So I'll sign off there and see how you go.